So what was the question again? Oh, why is it called the traffic jam? Well, you know, the reason is, it's because I have two really cool cars. Seriously cool cars. And I love drifting, racing, because I am fast and slick. And plus, I like to create a bit of traffic jam myself with a whole lot of great music. Bulumaka, my name is Rio, your host and DJ, right here on the Today FM Traffic Jam every weekday from 3 p.m. to 7. Right here on Today FM, today's hit music.
Good evening, this is FBC News. I'm Jackie Spate. In this bulletin, Parliament to vote for President in October. 3 women face money laundering charges. An assessment report calls for increase in coverage of care and protection allowance for children. Parliament is scheduled to hold a special one-day sitting in October to vote on nominations for the presidency. The current term of President Ratuepeli Nailatikau ends in November. Maggie Boyle tells us more.
The current presidential term of Ratuepeli Nailatikau ends in November. A career soldier and diplomat, Ratuepeli has been head of state since 2009. October 12th on the parliament calendar has now been earmarked for presidential nominations. According to the 2013 constitution, the Prime Minister and Leader of Opposition will each submit a presidential candidate to the Speaker of the House, who will announce the nominees to the House of Representatives. Parliament will then decide on the country's next president with a majority vote. As for the criteria of a presidential nominee, the Constitution stipulates that the person should have or has had a distinguished career in any aspect of national or international life, whether in the public or private sector, holds only a Fijian citizenship, is not a member of or holds any office in any political party, is not a candidate for election to any other office in the state, and has not at any time during the 6 years immediately before being nominated been convicted of any offence under the law. As for the nominees tipped for this all-important role, it's anyone's guess. It's possible Ratuepeli Nailatikau may be a candidate, given he's effectively served 3 years of the presidency as articulated under the Constitution, 1 term. He is eligible for another. Speculation, though, is rife as to who will be the next president. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
3 women face criminal counts of money laundering. Rasheen Praveen Raj and Reena Sorbi have been charged with laundering a total of $582,244. The third accused, Fu Gandon, is also charged. She is alleged to have laundered a total of $6,550. When they appeared in court today, the matter was stood down and referred to the chief magistrate because the second accused was known to the magistrate. The matter will be called tomorrow before another magistrate. The women were remanded to the Suva Women's Prison for the night. It's alleged the crimes were committed in 2006 and 2007. A report by UNICEF has recommended that Fiji increase the coverage of its care and protection allowance for children from $5,000 to $18,000. The recommendation is contained in the Child-Sensitive Social Protection in Fiji Assessment of the Care and Protection Allowance Report, which was launched today by the Minister for Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, Rosie Akbar. Ellen Stahls reports.
The Care and Protection Allowance is a social protection scheme targeted at assisting poor and vulnerable children through providing monthly cash allowances and food vouchers. UNICEF representative Karen Allen says Fiji has become a model for the Pacific Island countries in this regard.
We're delighted to see the government of Fiji is continuously trying to develop and improve the social protection strategy.
Minister for Women and Children Rosie Akbar says the report marks a milestone in the government efforts to protect children.
The beneficiaries of this program include children living in single-headed households, children with elderly caregivers, children with disabilities, and those children that reside in institutional homes.
Akbar reiterated, contrary to what people may think, the money and aid given to underprivileged families are helping them tremendously. The benefits of this scheme will impact people like 55-year-old Numai Wati, who resides in Visari outside Lami. She looks after her son as well as several other children.
Receiving $30 monthly and food voucher, $50 for food voucher. And I think that $30, it makes a difference for us.
Fiji's national poverty rate is 30.6%, while the poverty rate amongst children stands at 35.3%. Ellen Stalls, FBC News.
22 separate incidents of sexual offences were recorded last month. Figures released by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions indicate 18 people were charged in July for sex-related crimes. The offences consisted of 20 rape and 2 defilement cases. There were 16 victims of the separate incidents. There was 1 serious sexual offence that involved a couple in a domestic relationship. There was 1 serious sexual offence that involved a child of 5 years of age. In June, the DTP's office reported 47 incidents in which 32 people were charged. The UN Women has launched a new toolkit that is aimed at reducing violence against women and girls in Fiji and the Pacific. The toolkit is a booklet which is based on a fictional character, Moana, who works with a non-government organization. Shireen Lata has the details.
The Pacific Fund for Violence Against Women.
The Ending Violence Against Women and Girls booklet is another toolkit aimed at addressing violence in the region. It's based on an imaginary character called Moana who identifies issues of violence in her community.
We follow her throughout this booklet at the various stages of trying to understand what is violence, and what are the issues with gender equality. How do you develop a project proposal? How do you take it to funders and try and fundraise for it? And how do you implement it?
Violence against women and girls is a serious and complex issue, and Bernier says there's a critical need to develop interventions to prevent violence.
So this is a tool to help them, to help government departments, to help civil society organizations, to help church-based organizations, to help sporting organizations, to help anybody who works with communities who wants to make a difference for women and girls in the region.
Developed as part of the Ending Violence Against Women and Girls Facility Fund, the toolkit is the first of its kind in the Pacific. It was developed in response to requests made by the stakeholders for user-friendly materials and resources that would help them design and implement projects to end violence. Shireen Lata, FBC News.
Coming up, new CEO to work on improving image of Citizens Constitutional Forum.
FM Central Rental Support
Oya wa wati dalai.
Ganga yang masih dong.
Nama kikirau mena tolu kena betu. Ena via kabi. Moliti kena porombuka.
Goria na lali ne kabi. Bula FM number 2 ena seri.
28 recurrent issues have been picked up in the 2013 audited reports across the whole of government. This was revealed today in the Public Accounts Committee hearing, which is scrutinizing audited reports from 2010 to 2013. According to the Ministry of Finance, of the 28 issues, 8 have been resolved, 19 are in progress, and 1 was handed over to the Public Enterprises Ministry for review. Other issues highlighted included the need to clarify the processes used in miscellaneous expenses, which accounted for $84.2 million in 2013. The committee is expected to submit its second consolidated report to Parliament in next month's sitting. Police have located a white van which reportedly hit and killed a 14-year-old boy in Votoile Nandi this week. Police spokesperson Ana Naisoro says information from the public have helped their investigations. Naisoro says the driver is currently being questioned. Rafaele Yavala Jr. died after he was hit by a vehicle on Monday evening. The student, who was in the country with family members, was on his way to the Bulla Festival when the accident occurred. Yavala Jr.'s family had travelled from Vienna in Austria to Fiji to visit his mother's village on Vanuatu for the very first time. The newly appointed Chief Executive Officer of the Citizens Constitutional Forum hopes to take the non-government organization to another level. The former Rokotui Vakandrove Mbulutani Matai Tawakilai spoke about his new role today. Akosita Tale reports.
CCF is working towards achieving remarkable outcomes with a young new CEO steering the organization. Bulutani Matai Tawakilai previously worked as a community education officer at CCF in 2012. While he has big shoes to fill left by former CEO Reverend Aquila Yambaki, he says he's ready to take on the challenging role.
The work that we do has been perceived or misinterpreted by most in the past as anti-government or anti-culture, anti-tradition. And we want to reach out to the people and make a positive change in their lives.
Educating local communities on strong leadership, good governance, human rights, democracy and multiculturalism will be top of his list. Matai Tawakilai says CCF also hopes to work with government to support the implementation of the Universal Periodic Review held in Geneva last year.
Fiji has moved into the next phase of implementing this human rights recommendation from the UN. And we hope to keep the government supporting these recommendations and the implementation, and to continue to monitor the UPR implementation in Fiji.
Bolotani adds CCF hopes to work with the civil societies to compile the shadow report on the International Convention on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination to be submitted to the International Committee next year. Akosita Talei, FBC News.
Silence is the biggest enemy in the fight for equal rights. President Ratuepeli Nailatikau made the comment as he launched the United Nations Free and Equal campaign in the Pacific in Suva today. Julie Vatualiwali reports.
They take the people.
President Ratuepeli Nailatikau says the stigma that forces lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer and intersex community to live in fear and shame thrives on silence. Ratuepeli says that silence can be broken.
Let us break this together by standing up and speaking out. That is the only way we will ever be able to end homophobia and transphobia, and put an end to the violence and discrimination that we all have seen or heard of.
Acting Prime Minister Ayaz Sayed Qayyum says Section 26(3) of the Constitution reads, a person must not be unfairly discriminated against directly or indirectly on the grounds of his or her actual personal characteristics, including sexual orientation and gender identity.
We need to bring about the attitudinal changes in society at the everyday level. And that requires engagement from both sides. That requires understanding from both sides, with the sure knowledge that the law is there to protect any form of discrimination and indeed provide free and equal opportunities for people from the LGBTIT community.
UN Resident Coordinator Karen Allen says the UN encourages the governments of the Pacific to revise these laws in order to show that none of their citizens are discriminated against.
Therefore, it is up to us to speak out. Lives are at stake. Quiet support is not enough. Every day, all over the world, LGBTI people experience stigma, violence and discrimination.
The campaign has reached over 1 billion people around the world through traditional and social media. It is aimed at raising awareness of homophobic and transphobic violence, discrimination, and to promote respect for the rights of the LGBTIQ community everywhere. Julie Vatualiwali, FBC News.
The Fijian Elections Office is working on developing a computer program that will conduct general elections with minimal mistakes. External software developers will be encouraged to custom build a sophisticated program that will make it easier to conduct the elections of 2018. Chanel Sivan reports.
It's almost 1 year after the country's general elections.
and the Elections Office has begun looking for a smarter approach to conduct the next one in 2018. Supervisor of Elections Muhammad Sanim says an electoral management system will be a comprehensive software that manages the operations of the elections.
One of the benefits of this system would be that a lot of processes would now be electronically handled, meaning reduced paperwork mistakes, and also the number of persons in terms of efficiency would be essential.
The FEO is working with countries like New Zealand to ensure best practices are shared.
We haven't had any pricing done yet, and once we have done the scoping, we will try to get an EOI out to get a feel of the market and to see how it is done. Generally, it would be wise to have it custom built so that the further customization becomes easier.
The Elections Office will soon call for expressions of interest from interested parties to develop the electoral management system. The system is expected to be functional for the 2018 general elections. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
Minister for Fisheries and Forest, Ose Naingamu, has urged coastal fisheries experts to continue advocating the importance of maintaining healthy and productive coastal fish resources. Speaking to participants at the Coastal Fisheries and Resources Workshop in Suva today, Naingamu highlighted that coastal fishery contributes enormously to the country's economic well-being. Naingamu says the workshop will help the ministry to look at ways to improve coastal fisheries management.
The workshop is to involve all the stakeholders to assist the ministry in collating all the data in regards to inshore fisheries. The main issue is to put in place a sustainable management plan for our fisheries resources inshore.
Annually, about 27,000 tons of fresh fish are caught locally from coastal fishing, and there are plans to further develop coastal resources. And on that note, sports is up next. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Thank you, Jackie, and good evening. In sports after the break, Akapusingera believes Fiji has what it takes to survive the pool of death, and Fiji Pearls out to avenge 2011 loss to Wales in its World Cup opener this Friday. This and more coming up.
Gold FM, only the classic hits. I hope you're having fun so far. You're listening to The Ride, and I'm Kara, taking you through your afternoon. Stay with me to listen to more awesome classics right here on The Ride. Mulubinaka, for awesome sounds in the afternoon. Wonderful, wonderful classics. Join me on The Ride every weekday right here on Gold FM, only the classic hits from 2 to 7.
Just don't ask me what it was. I think it's cause
Vodafone Flying Fijian skipper Akapusingera says despite Fiji being in a Rugby World Cup pool referred to as the pool of death, the side still can spring some surprises. He made the comments after Fiji's 39-29 win over Samoa in the Pacific Nations Cup in Canada yesterday. Fiji is pooled with England, Wales, Australia and Uruguay for the World Cup, and Gareth says his team will be ready.
It's a boost as a whole, and for this young group going forward, the World Cup is just a few weeks away, and a game against England, we know that it's not going to be easy. We're in the pool that has been labelled as a pool of death, and we will survive the pool.
Fiji plays England in its World Cup opening match on the 19th of September. Fiji's team to the Special Olympics in Los Angeles, USA received a hero's welcome today at the Nandi International Airport. Along with family, friends and fans, the Minister and Assistant Minister for Youth and Sports were present to greet the athletes. Josephine Avula reports.
It was an emotional day for the parents as they turned up in numbers to welcome and congratulate their sons and daughters after a successful outing at the Special Olympics. Head of Delegation Bishwa Sidal says the athletes deserve to be recognized for their effort.
The first week was very exciting. When it came to the second week of finals, that's when we really needed to focus. That's when some of us were feeling homesick. But I think my two colleagues did very well. I think their experience as teachers really helped.
He adds the athletes sacrificed a lot during the preparations.
They love Coke. When you used to train, their bags used to have Coke after training. They did not touch any fizzy drink until the last medal was won, and there was only Sprite.
Present to welcome the athletes, Minister for Youth and Sports, Laisenia Tuitumbo, says plans are already underway for the celebrations of their achievements.
Sports Commission, the ministry, your ministry, and Fiji Sports Council are preparing something that we will sit down together on Monday, next Monday, for that celebration.
Fiji has recorded a spectacular performance at the Special Olympics in Los Angeles, USA, collecting 3 gold, 4 silver and 3 bronze medals. Josephine Vula, FBC Sports.
The Fiji Pearls are raring to take on Wales in the opening match of the Netball World Cup in Australia on Friday. But although the national side is eager to get on the court, it knows the world's number 8 team is no pushover. Team captain Merene Liku says they haven't forgotten the loss Fiji suffered when the two teams last met.
We are going out there for a fight because the last time we met was in 2011 where we fell short of 1 goal and they won that position, the 9th position, and we took the 10th. So I'm definitely sure it's going to be a sort of like a finals for us.
The national side takes on Wales on Friday at 11:50 a.m. But you can watch delayed coverage of that match at 3:30 p.m. on Fbctv. Despite qualifying for the next round of the Ink Mobile Battle of the Giants, the Jacks Nandi football side admit it has a lot to improve on before eliminations. Going up against traditional Giants Mba in the first semi-final, Nandi know too well that it has to show up prepared. Josephine Navula has more.
The Jet Setters have been working closely in the past few days of training sessions to iron out their mistakes from last week. President Navnida Gaundar says he is not satisfied with the team's performance during pool play.
Last week's performance, I think we are not that good. According to we played in the leagues, our team was not that sharp in all the games. But we came back and we decided to have a full session of training back and rectify all the mistakes what we did in the games, and we'll go forward from here.
The players have been showing consistency in the past training sessions as they know the match against Men in Black will be tough.
Our team is a champion side, as you know, everybody knows that when they play at home is very tough, and we respect Ba, and I think so we'll give a good game to Ba there.
Nandi will play Mba in the first semi-final at 7 p.m. at Govin Park tomorrow. Josephine Vula, FBC Sports.
Fijian swimmer Matilita Mbondromo finished her 200-meter freestyle race at the 16th FINA World Championships in Russia with a time of 2 minutes 9.07 seconds. This was 1.3 seconds outside her personal best of 2 minutes 7.77 seconds set last year. Finishing with the 8th fastest time at the meet, Mbondromo says fatigue from competing at the Pacific Games just last month was an attributing factor for her performance. She added the first 100 meter in the race felt great, but by the third length, fatigue started to settle in. Mbondromo will compete again later tonight in the 100 meter freestyle. That was your sports for this evening. It's back to Jackie now with business.
An announcement is expected to be made soon on visa requirements for Fijians travelling to India. Fiji's High Commissioner to India, Yogesh Karan, says he has received a lot of queries about Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's announcement late last year about visa-free travel to India. Karan says it refers to online applications. In the current arrangement, people are required to get approval online and they receive their visa on arrival in India.
I have been in discussions with the Indians that Fiji could be listed in the list of countries which don't require visa at all, in the same reciprocal manner that we don't require visa for the Indians. So I am expecting and very hopeful that this announcement will be made very soon.
Curran says visa on arrival will make travelling easier for people who are seeking medical treatment in India. Brief showers was experienced over the interior and eastern parts of the larger islands today. Fine weather prevailed elsewhere. Tropical depression TD01F is located to the northwest of Rotuma as of 3 p.m. today. It is slow-moving and weakening. Meanwhile, a trough of low pressure lies over Tuvalu and extends eastwards over northern Cooks. Maximum temperatures of 28, 30 and 31 were recorded in other centres today. However, Suva managed a high of only 24. Fine apart from brief showers over the interior and eastern parts of the larger islands. Outlook for Friday is occasional showers over most places. And the main points again, Parliament is scheduled to hold a special one-day sitting in October to vote on nominations for the presidency. 3 women have been charged with money laundering by police, and they have been remanded in custody to reappear in the Suva Magistrates Court tomorrow. And a report by UNICEF has recommended that Fiji increase the coverage of its care and protection allowance for children from $5,000 to $18,000. Now to our poll segment. This week we are asking, should we have the phone tapping in line with international standards? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. You've been watching FBC News. I'm Jackie Spade. Good night.